Forgiveness acting here, casting out all doubt and fear, setting men forever free with wings of cosmic victory. I am calling in full power for forgiveness every hour. To all life in every place, I flood forth forgiving grace. I am forgiveness acting here, casting out all doubt and fear, setting men forever free with wings of cosmic victory. I am calling in full power for forgiveness every hour. To all life in every place, I flood forth forgiving grace. I am forgiveness acting here, casting out all doubt and fear, setting men forever free with wings of cosmic victory. I am calling in full power for forgiveness every hour. To all life in every place, I flood forth forgiving grace. These little decrees are part of the heart, head, and hand of beloved El Moria. Now we are going to take the Bija mantras to the feminine deities. What are feminine deities? They are conceptions of God as mother as well as father. They are, in the Hindu tradition, the visualization of the mother releasing the light of the Trinity. The mother can appear in any form in which you visualize her. The statues of these three feminine deities are, in fact, the conception that comes out of a culture and an ancient tradition. So don't be offended. Only understand that you are seeing a mudra. You are seeing the lotus posture of one who is called Sarasvati. Sarasvati, the complement of Brahma, or the Father. So she is the mother who teaches us the law of the Father, the wisdom of his mind, truly the use of his power. A seed mantra, which is the meaning of bija, means that the sound unlocks that force in the chakra. When you say Aim, which is the seed of Sarasvati, that quality of light rises from your base chakra to water the other 6 flowers of your chakras. Lakshmi is the personification of the feminine aspect of the second person of the Trinity. Jesus said, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. It is the mother who teaches us Jesus' path of the abundant life. She is known, therefore, to unlock, supply everything you need to fulfill your divine plan and make your ascension. Whether it is money, whether it is wisdom, whether it is family, friends, education, professional calling, whatever you require to externalize the inner potential, the Divine Mother teaches you through her seed, Shrim. Shrim is the sound of the second person of the Trinity in the mother aspect. Then we come to the complement of the Holy Spirit. 2 personifications, one as the destroyer of the demons attacking her children, and be in that aspect of the Holy Spirit consuming darkness, and one in the aspect of Durga, which is the Divine Mother, the mother of children, the blesser and benefactress. So the seed of Kali, which binds the addictions, takes from your children drug demons, possessing demons of alcohol or anger or whatever assails them, is Kali, and her seed is cream. Then you take Durga, and her seed syllable is Dum. Then you take the summation of all in the conception of the world mother, and that is the mantra of E. Aim, Hrim, Klim, Chamundai, Viche. Now we're going to give this series under 12, number 12 on page 2, and you are going to visualize the white light of the mother ascending. It's your ascending flame, and the divine light of the Father above you descending and meeting in your heart.
Om Aim Sarasvatye Namaha. 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 Om Shrim Lakshmi 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 Namaha. Om Krim Kalikaye 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 Namaha. Om Dum Durgaye 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 Namaha. Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche. 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 Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche.
In summation, the fourfold aspect of the Divine Mother gives us abundance of the qualities of the Trinity, abundance of awareness of that light, abundance of that flow in our being. This is the sign of the coming of the Mother into our life. Now in the Heart, Head, and Hand decrees, El Morya put this together, focusing the mastery of supply. It's a decree for supply, the least of which may be money, but perhaps the least of which is the most essential when you don't have the wherewithal to get from here to there. It's one of those facts of life in the physical octave. Money is a medium of exchange. It is intended to be a focus of the light of the sun behind the sun, and the element closest to that sun in the realm of money is gold. So when you visualize supply descending for your physical needs, you see it as gold. Supply is precipitated through the third eye chakra. That means you have to get the Mother all the way from the base chakra to the third eye and seal that Mother light with your vision, because what you see, you precipitate. This is the key to alchemy. So if you squander that energy along the way and dissipate it in riotous living, or in anger or anxiety or all of the feelings and suggestions to which we are heir, the stream has run dry before it reaches the third eye. It is used up. We've used it up in karma-making and tangling situations. So this is the root cause of poverty on this planet. Of course, it is aided and abetted by the managers of our money, east and west, with their systems and theories of economics, none of which actually fully represents the path of initiation of the abundant life of Jesus. So here is your visualization for this mantra through this chakra, 96 petals. It is the emerald ray that you add to the violet flame, the color of the chakra and the color of precipitation. Here you see the green flame springing up in your aura. Here you see shafts of light descending, and they are tinged in emerald green. This is the supply of everything in all planes, as I said. Everything you need to fulfill your divine plan is your lawful right. It's your divine right to access it from your causal body, not to demand that someone else give you what you haven't earned, not in a situation of welfare, socialism, everything is to be done for me from the cradle to the grave, depriving me from the cradle to the grave, depriving me now of my victory and my God mastery over matter. It is your divine right to have the fullness of supply, but you have to go after it. You have to make it happen, and in so doing, you become the master of your life. And now you can be the source, and you can give to the poor instead of demanding that the whole universe support your little system without you having made the effort. So there is the visualization of the receiving of supply, the emerald fire, the green ray, Alpha, Omega. The key is Alpha and Omega. That's how Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes. You can do it. You've just got to practice. Number 13. You can't precipitate anything unless you get rid of fear. Anxiety is the greatest enemy of the alchemist. Saint Germain writes a whole chapter on it. Anxiety and the anxiety syndrome. You trouble the waters of your lower bodies. You cannot keep anything. Fearful people are not good multipliers of God's graces. So we say it. I am free from fear and doubt, casting want and misery out, knowing now all good supply ever comes from realms on high. I am the hand of God's own fortune, flooding forth the treasures of light, now receiving full abundance to supply each need of life. I am free from fear and doubt, casting want and misery out, knowing now all good supply ever comes from realms on high. I am the hand of God's own fortune, flooding forth the treasures of light, now receiving full abundance to supply each need of life. I am free from fear and doubt, casting want and misery out, knowing now all good supply ever comes from realms on high. I am the hand of God's own fortune, flooding forth the treasures of light, now receiving full abundance to supply each need of life. Now we're going back to the mighty Sun of Being. And we're going to consider the initiation of the crown chakra and what it requires. We have a mantra for the crown chakra. I should call your attention to the beloved Saint Patrick, who in the love of Christ put himself on the line for Christ, did not fear to challenge the power elite, did not fear to take on any situation, wrestled with the snakes, the serpents of the fallen angels. They say there never were any snakes in Ireland, but the real meaning of Patrick is that he did bind and cast out fallen angels who were oppressing the people. Not only did he cast them out, but he converted many of them to Christ. He was born about 389 of Romano-British origin. At 405, he was taken captive by Irish raiders and sold into slavery, and in his period as a herdsman, sought and found God. He went through great experiences in his life, and he writes about them in that which became his diary. Now, in conjunction with this, the mantra of the sun behind the sun had been given to us many years before. But I came upon the writings of St. Patrick, an experience he had which teaches us so much. It teaches us that we have created an anti-self, personified as the planetary dweller on the threshold called Satan or the devil. But within ourselves we have the not-self, that is the summation of our negativity. It has become a synthetic image. We must wrestle with that counterpart, which is truly not real, but is real because it is composed of the light from God, which we have turned to darkness. So one of the inner temple mysteries and initiations taken at Luxor, taken under Serapis Bey, or Lord Zadkiel, the archangel of the seventh ray, is the binding of the dweller on the threshold. It corresponds with the dark night of the spirit taught by St. John of the Cross. Patrick wrote about this experience which came to him. He said, "On that same night I lay a-sleeping, and powerfully Satan assailed me, which I shall remember as long as I am in this body." If you've ever been directly attacked by great darkness, you can equate with St. Patrick. He fell upon me like an enormous stone, and I was stricken nerveless in all my limbs. When then did it come into my unscholarly spirit to call upon Helios? At once I saw the sun rising into the dawn sky, and while I kept invoking Helios, Helios, with all my strength, lo, the splendor of the sun fell over me, and instantly shook all the heaviness off from me. I believe I was succored by Christ my Lord, and that his Spirit even then was calling out on my behalf. Helios, the Greek name for sun, Helios, is actually the name of the being, the masculine being, who with his consort Vesta, twin flames of Alpha and Omega, maintain the God consciousness of the Son of God in the sun behind the sun of our solar system. And so we have a mantra that is sung to them as representatives of God and to that pure sphere of light. You will find it in number 14. It is wonderful to rise at dawn, face the sun, close your eyes, direct your great love to the Christ of that sun, and to say, Helios and Vesta, Helios and Vesta, Helios and Vesta. Let the light flow into my being. Let the light expand in the center of my heart. Let the light expand in the center of the earth. And let the earth be transformed into the new day. Helios and Vesta, Helios and Vesta, Helios and Vesta. Let the light flow into my being. Let the light expand in the center of my heart. Let the light expand in the center of the earth. And let the earth be transformed into the new day. Helios and Vesta, Helios and Vesta, Helios and Vesta. Let the light flow into my being. Let the light expand in the center of my heart. Let the light expand in the center of the earth. And let the earth be transformed into the new day. You can try this on a rainy day. Face the sun where it is or should be in the sky, and you can see the sun come out. All of elemental life bow before the light of the central sun of this solar system. They actually part the clouds when you send your heart's devotion to the sun, and you can feel in giving the mantra the return current of light. Again, you need to clear the heart chakra with a violet flame so you can develop the sensitivity to the vibrations of which I'm speaking. Now, I know it is getting on for you in the evening, so I would like to give you the sealing of the third eye with the emerald matrix, and following that, to volunteer myself to answer any questions you might have and perhaps also to continue this teaching. So I want to show you the emerald matrix. When Saint Germain was the wonder man of Europe, it is said in the diaries of Madame d'Adhemar, who knew him, saw him, was the lady in waiting to Marie Antoinette, and other accounts of other diaries. It was said that he wore diamonds on every finger, on his belt and shoe buckles. That he took a diamond from Louis XV that had a flaw and actually transmuted that flaw and returned it to him a perfect diamond. We find that the reason he wore those rings on every finger was because each finger relates to the chakras, to the planetary bodies, to the energies of the stars. When you lay your hands on for healing in the full Christhood that you are becoming, you draw the energies from many sources and focuses in cosmos. This is why our hands are so precious in all we do, and why certain fingers have certain purposes. So Saint Germain explained to me that precious gems have the capacity to hold light, transmit light, be conductors of light, and they do contain your vibrations. When you are a very high spiritual being, the jewelry you wear has that vibration. Similarly, people of low vibrations, their jewels have a very low vibration. So a jewel does not automatically have power, it is a chalice. At the molecular level, it creates a cup for the holding of energy. So as I mentioned, Saint Germain brought to me this emerald matrix, especially for this mission, as I am going around the world sealing the servants of God in their foreheads. This is a very unusual matrix because it comes from Saint Germain's inspiration of alchemy upon those who produced it. This is a real emerald, but it did not grow in the earth. Crystals of a real emerald were placed in a solution in a laboratory, and in 9 months they grew to produce this crystal. This is being done in California. I think it is being done in France. Perhaps you know all about it. So this is another means that Saint Germain makes available to all of the people those things which formerly were precious and could only be afforded by the wealthy or by royalty. So of course, to be able to produce these so easily lessens their price because it increases their quantity. So in any case, this was placed in my hands, and this particular matrix then is the means of transmission of the light of the causal body of Saint Germain for the sealing of your third eye, the sealing of your chakras. It is a protection to your soul, whether in or out of the body. It is the sign of the Ancient of Days. You have been touched by the Great White Brotherhood, and inasmuch as you will allow it by your free will, the guardian angels will care for you and see that you are in this life and in your transition spared from the depths of the astral plane and the burdens of it, which are very serious in time of planetary upheaval and war, and can be very shattering to the four lower bodies and even to the soul. I trust you will understand that your keeping of this flame is your responsibility. Mine is to deliver to you the word, and I have locked into this booklet mantras that will work for you if you work with them. And into many books and publications I have expounded with Mark on the teachings, or we simply have published the direct dictations of the masters. A serious study of this teaching and path, a complete study of course, cannot be given in one night, but I have labored and endeavored to provide you with so many keys that you could not go away from here without the ability to fend for yourself just with the use of that booklet as I've taught it to you. Saint Germain was even more concerned. He started the Keepers of the Flame Fraternity, has published monthly lessons. They're sent around the world to be certain that students of the Masters have what they need in this hour of the turning of ages. And finally, the Master sponsored Summit University, 12 weeks at Camelot or our Royal Teton Ranch in Montana, a 12-week retreat to learn the path of the Ascended Masters. Go back to your cities and homes and carry a real flame for your community. So this, then, we will give to you, and I ask you to proceed in an orderly manner to this side of the auditorium and form a line, a single line that comes to the front. And I will be standing down here before you, and you may come now. The music that is going to be played during this is the affirmation of the light of the sacred fire in a chant to Zarathustra. There were a series of Zarathustras who received the light of Ahura Mazda, perceived it as the sacred fire, were contacted by the archangels, given the understanding of light and darkness, powers of the heavenly hosts, and so forth, the same basic principles of world religion. The meditation on the sacred fire that comes through this is a meditation that you can keep on your heart as you come forward. I'm going to give the invocation to Saint Germain now and to Almighty God for this blessing. Won't you commune in your heart as I do so? Lord God Almighty, O legions of the sacred fire, power of the Atman, light of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, beloved Saint Germain, come now. Receive thine own and seal in the name of Jesus Christ. Elohim, I am that I am, Sanat Kumara. Seal these servants of the Most High God in their foreheads. Seal the seed of Christ. Protect them now and forever unto the hour of their assumption into the light of God. Beloved Saint Germain, come now into my temple and fulfill thy promise. In the name of the Holy Spirit, I accept it done this hour in full power. Amen.
Zarathustra
We give our heart's love and devotion to God and God represented in beloved Saint Germain. It's a sweet little song, number 19 on page 3. It's called the I Love You Waltz. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you that the energy rising on your spine is your life force. It is the ascension flame. It will take you back to the source whence you came if you love and preserve it. Sound and the consequence of sound produces rhythm. There are rhythms that accelerate and intensify and raise the light. There are rhythms which decelerate the light. There are rhythms which cause the flame to rise and the flame to fall. So I must tell you that the light you have gained will stay with you, but one way that you can lose it easily is through the syncopated 4/4 time of rock music. This is the problem of our civilization. Most of us are addicted to rock music. It gives us the thrill of the sudden descent of energy in our chakras. The mother chakra at the base of the spine has 4 petals. The rhythm of that chakra is 4/4 time, the march beat. And so you find when you hear a military band that you get very excited and you want to march and you get full of the spirit of love for your country, and you feel a certain energy because it is the perfect rhythm of the rising of the 4 points, the 4 cosmic forces of the mother. As soon as you syncopate that beat, you throw it off balance, and the threefold action of the Sushumna, the Ida, and Pingala rising up the nadis is disturbed and the energy descends. This is why you get the certain body motions with the performance of rock music and the consequent culture that goes with it of drugs and sex. Sex is the sacred fire. The more you raise it, the more you have the creative fires in all of your chakras. So your loving and sacred use of this energy, preserved in the raising of the light, is a goal on your path of mastery and attainment. The masters haven't said that you should eliminate sex. It is your free will and your path and your attunement with God and your private life. What they are saying is that the syncopated 4/4 time of rock music increases the flow of energy to the lower chakras, therefore increasing the need for or the desire for sex. And so this is why the burden is come upon us of the sexual expression at a younger and younger age, and also the use of drugs at a younger and younger age, squandering the life force. When the students at Montessori International, a school which we founded, my late husband Mark Prophet and I, asked me about the use of sex at early ages, I have given the answer to them that comes from El Muria, and this is what he explained. He explained that you are born of the mother, the divine mother, and you are being formed and fashioned and fulfilled by that divine mother. And through the age of the 21, which is 3 times 7, you are building the light of your chakras, your consciousness, and your identity. Identity is fashioned through the sacred fire that is raised. Children, therefore, who squander this light, as the culture now dictates to them, the rock culture and sex, early, losing that light of the chakras when they start with their smoking and marijuana, 10 years old, 11 years old, early pregnancies in teenage years, we find the dissipation of the life force and the energy. And what is the net result? When these children are 18 and 19 and 20, many of them do not know who they are, where they are going in life. They have dissipated their life force. They usually have not concentrated in education or the professions. And we find a lessening of standards on the job in all areas of endeavor and business and so forth. And this is directly related to that life force descending at the very critical moment in life when we are building our God identity through the human vessel. So I appeal to all of the great rock stars of the world, folk singers, country western and so forth, to write music that causes the light of our children to ascend. When the light ascends, they will not need drugs, and they will have a greater mastery of the life force and use it in a sacred way when they understand it is ordained by God. So the rhythm of your threefold flame is the 3/4 time. And it is a wonderful rhythm that has been used in the waltz. It is also used in 6/8 time. This is an ascending current and a joyous current, and when you sing it, you feel the lilt of your heart. Since Saint Germain initiates us in the heart chakra, we sing our I love you to him in that rhythm. If you come to Camelot and Summit University in Malibu, California, our 250-acre campus there, you'll find yourself waltzing when we have our social events. Everyone learns to waltz, and we waltz in the pattern of a Tai Chi. That's the figure of Confucius, the whirling sacred fire. And the waltz is a marvelous turning of the wheel of life because it's a 1, 2, 3. And so it's the thrust of the power of God, and the 2, 3 is the wisdom and the love. Power, wisdom, and love. And so we actually give mantras and make invocations as we waltz and get a little physical exercise at the same time that we are communing with our ascended twin flames and celebrating the oneness of Alpha and Omega to this wonderful tempo of the heart. If you have a question, you're welcome to stand where you are and ask it, and please project your voice so that I can hear you.
You've just spoken about the damaging effect of rock music. Can you speak on what music is now required to be made to bring us into the new age? What should this new music be like? Or what music do you like?
Well, the great 9 symphonies of Beethoven released a tremendous light from your causal body. And Saint Germain teaches the alchemical power of the 3 times 3, and the progression of this music is a wonderful meditation for your chakras. Saint Germain has said it is the most powerful music that has been composed for the world. Classical music in the tradition of the great masters is the type of thing that expresses the harmony of the spheres. When it becomes dissonant, modern, and jagged, again, it has that kind of effect on your body. The straight tempos rather than the syncopated tempos are what we are seeking in a new age music of the people, folk music, songs that celebrate life and that celebrate love in a positive way, and that celebrate the teachings and are forward-looking to transcending ourselves rather than celebrating the dark things and the unhappy things and the sordid things. As you know, there's a big commotion about the lyrics of rock music today, concentrating on the side of life that either is sacred and should be kept in the secret chamber of the heart, the use of the life forces, between man and woman, or else about anything from drugs to mayhem to whatever it may be on the mind of the singer. So both the words, which are cups intended to channel light, and the rhythm should be the upbeat and the uplift.
The element of color and biosphere.
The violet is such a powerful ray that it bursts into colors from the violet pink all the way almost to an indigo and everything in between. Violets that are more pink or violets that are more blue. So it is the whole spectrum, and each part of it has a different vibration working toward the same end of transmutation. Are you speaking of the earth as the biosphere? Well, if you look at the causal body, you can actually see the layers of the earth, the white fire core of the center. And you come to the outermost ring, and it's the color of the sky and the sea, the blue. Then the next ring in is the green, which shows you all things living. And that's the healing chlorophyll ray. And that is the flame you use for healing and for life, but always combining it with the violet.
In California, do they have a database on that biosphere during as much of the chlorophyll and so forth, other than wheat rocks?
Are you talking about ourselves or other people? In my organization? Well, as far as life and the life force, we pursue the drinking of wheatgrass, the making of all kinds of sprouts, eating of raw food, cleansing diet, fasting with vegetable juices of all kinds, the use of herbs, the alchemy of herbs. We use Swedish bitters, which is an herb formula that can be traced back to Paracelsus, and tinctures of herbs for the various organs of the body. And all of this study is contained in a book on herbs by Maria Traben, who received her direction from Mother Mary. And of course, the Abbe Kneipp said that there is a plant for every disease and an herb for every organ of the body. So the science of the maintenance of the physical body in balance is pursued by us from all levels. And we always combine fasting, of course, with the violet flame, because we know we are toxic also from our tensions and our emotions, which spring from the records of our past lives. Thank you.
Do you think that psychoanalysis has any constructive role to play?
I have a number of psychiatrists, psychoanalysts, and so forth in the organization who study with me under the Ascended Master Kuthumi, who is the master psychologist and has the dispensation today to help us with our mental and emotional problems. Actually, he participated in writing a book called Understanding Yourself, which is very good reading. Psychoanalysis is good in many, many ways, and when it is combined with the violet flame of Saint Germain, you get the best of both worlds. So if you have a therapist that is also a student of the Ascended Masters, you combine the understanding which is needed to sort out problems, to take people back to the origin of their problems in this life. And when I counsel people, and I give them the direct counseling of the Masters at Summit University, the Masters give me oftentimes the past lives, where the point of the problem began, analyze it, show it to the student, and then give the support of invocation on behalf of that student, exorcism of possessing entities, and then the student goes to work with the violet flame, self-interior correction, and a conscious decision to put aside now and transcend that former state. It is really wonderful to work with the Ascended Masters in psychology. And as you know, Jesus said when he was accused of being with publicans and sinners, why are you hanging around with people like that? It's bad for your reputation. And he said, well, they that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. And I'm sure you realize that people come to the Master seeking the completion of themselves. And so the first thing that appears is the equation of psychology. And we start with the father-mother principle, and we start talking about your parents in this life, the next preceding life and preceding, until we root out the ancestral tree, replacing it with the divine tree of life of your true parents, your Father, Mother, God, and finally yourself and your twin flame as your true parents. It's a very exciting path.
Saint Night. What is another night? I can't pronounce it.
Rakazi. The Master R, the Master Rakazi. Yes, he was said to have been of that house and order, and some say he was born into the Hungarian royal family, and that was where his embodiment as the Wonder Man of Europe came from. This may be true, but his birth and death as the Wonder Man are definitely shrouded in mystery. He chose the name Saint Germain because it means simply holy brother. Would you speak a little louder, please?
Maxine light.
The Maxine light. It is an intense concentration of light, the Maxim light. And it is keyed by techniques of Fohat used by the Masters. It's the highest light.
some screen projections to go with the mantras. Is there any reading on that?
Yes, the first book you should own is The Science of the Spoken Word. Great.
Somebody starts to hear rock music by accident, or if you're in a social environment where something starts to be played, then how soon should you remove yourself from it?
Well, as soon as is practical. You might want to finish your meal and do whatever you're doing in any place of business where it's being played. Most important thing to do is to put on your tube of light and make sure your focus of attention is not swept away and engaged by your environment, but concentrate on your heart. You can easily mentally recite a mantra through your third eye and be completely absorbed in the mantra and totally capable of conducting your business when you have to do so in the presence of rock music.
Third eye, you mean in silence, do you?
Yes, I mean in silence. You'll find that the mantra also sings itself to you. I mean, you can hear the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Once you've given it many times, it actually sings itself to you. And it's very sweet. Is there any way to further the knowledge you've been given today? Yes, right here in London there are students of the Ascended Masters who have so graciously sponsored my coming here with a team from Los Angeles. And I'd like you to meet them because they have a center and they hold study meetings and present lectures. And they'll be presenting a lecture soon on the lost years of Jesus. So won't you all come forward who are part of that group? The master students are representative of every walk of life. It's always true. When you see students coming to Summit University, every age, every background, every race, every religion. And it's an amazing meeting of the heart on that wavelength of the quest for the Holy Grail, the quest for the light. So if you be sure and leave your name, this group, and we'll be contacting you regarding the upcoming events of their service in the Greater London area. I do want to thank you with all my heart for having me here. It's such a joy to be in London.
Thank you for coming.
What's the ultimate end of people following these teachings? Well, first of all, the teaching tells us that here and now we have a joyous service to render to every part of life. We have now the sense of the goal of planet Earth to become Freedom's star. This is a seventh-ray planet that in our private lives, in our governments, in our economies, we need to demonstrate the laws of freedom and the exercise of free will, individual initiative, the unfolding of the God identity. So we're very much here and now people rather than otherworldly, because we realize that we don't have to go anywhere to get to God. God is already where I am, and I should enjoy Him to the fullest and give of the great light I have received to those who haven't yet come to that realization. So we want to build the city of God on earth. We want to bring in the golden age. And we realize that the flame of light brought to every field of human endeavor can bring light, advancement, invention, and transmute the difficulties we have in our societies because we don't have the full light of the threefold flame manifest. Now, the goal of the path is to balance one's karma, balance all of one's debts to life, because one would like to re-embody in a higher plane and not have to return to the dense spheres, unless, of course, one has a mission to do so by one's divine plan to reincarnate again. But according to one's divine plan, this is the end of the age, and many souls are intended to graduate in this lifetime and in this age, to make way for new root races and life waves on the planet. So many times the people who take to this teaching are very old souls who've been on the planet a long time and who are ready for the next assignment, but are not getting on with it because of unfinished business. So we balance karma by two means: service to life, that means to people, to anyone and everyone. This service is accomplished in whatever job you have in your family on a one-to-one basis. It's accomplished on a world basis by supporting the spread of the teaching, which is such good karma because everyone it touches, it helps them to balance their karma and turn their lives around. And then by service within our community, which I can show you a film of our community, and then the violet flame mantras, the decrees themselves, not only for yourself, but we gather by the thousands and we give decrees for the whole world, for world conditions, for the balancing of world karma. So all of these avenues of our endeavor contributes to the liberation of the soul from the round of karma and rebirth. And the initiation we look forward to and anticipate is, as in the Christian tradition, the resurrection, and beyond that the ascension, which is the ascension to the I Am Presence, and one goes out no more. One has become an ascended being, having mastered one's karma and time and space. One has now returned to God.
Where does one descend to when one becomes an ascended being?
You accelerate into the high frequency of light. It's not actually a distance in time and space. Your presence is right there, but you ascend into that intense sacred fire, which is so intense that you no longer can be in physical embodiment. This body wasn't made to contain that much light. So it is a process of self-transcendence back to the beginning whence we came, from the heart of God, to be immortal. Well, the fact of the matter is that you are ascending every day when you invoke the light, because your atoms and cells and your consciousness are perpetually ascending. So death is not a means to eternal life. Death is not real. But sometime we will lay down this garment we wear, and we will permanently put on our deathless solar body, our body of light. Paul explained it. He said there are bodies terrestrial and bodies celestial.
Would you say that through concentrating on this light, where does this light come from?
The light is God and is the emanation of God.
But would you say that that exists beyond the mind?
The mind that we're talking about, I think you're talking about, is the mental body. It's a vessel which the higher consciousness or the higher mind uses. We use it, this vessel of the mental body, to function. But your real mind is the mind of God. There is really only one mind. It is the universal mind of God, and you are a part of that mind, and that mind is a part of you. And proportionate to your attunement with God, you embody more of that mind every day. And the limited mental body, by and by, gives way to that consciousness of the mind of God. So the apostles said, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." Well, the primordial light is God and is the Word, is the power of God. The light has consciousness and is consciousness because God has many attributes in one. But if you're speaking of enlightenment, we achieve enlightenment by this light, energy, consciousness of God. The enlightening of the mind you receive through your I Am Presence and by the Holy Spirit.
Who will make up the new government of Daniel? Daniel prophesies a new government.
In Daniel?
Yeah, I think it's chapter 7, I'm not quite sure. He said there's going to be a new government who's never fall.
What is your question?
Who will make up the new government?
Who will make up the new government?
We're in Revelation right at this moment, and there's going to be a new earth and a new heaven. And Christ, as King, is going to reign from heaven, and the earthly government will be set up upon earth.
Isaiah says the government shall be upon his shoulders. Now we understand that that Christ in Jesus is also in you as the universal Christ, your holy Christ self. So the new government begins with you, your government of yourself. And the government of your being is on the shoulders of your Christ self. And when you become one with that Christ self, you are the governor of your life. When you can embody that Christ, then you can represent other people in a representative form of government. The government of the world is vested in the people of light, and it should be vested in those of the highest light who derive from their source the understanding of what government means. El Morya, who is chief of the Darjeeling Council of the Great White Brotherhood, defined government as God over men, government. And he also called it gods over men. So God appoints representatives and people elect representatives. And hopefully the people will elect the representatives who are of the divine origin.
For the 1,000 years when the devil will be down, is that when Christ rules as king? He will bring peace and prosperity to all for 1,000 years.
Christ rules as king when you decide he rules in your life. That's when Christ will rule the earth. Not simply by predestination, but because by free will you accept prophecy. Christ can't reign on earth unless you allow him to.
I'm not disputing that at all. All I'm saying is this, is like, for instance, there is 144,000, and after the 144,000 there's a mixed multitude from all nations and all provinces. The 144,000 have the seal of God on their forehead, and the mixed multitude are the ones coming out of the Great Tribulation. We're in the tribulation now, but there's going to be a Great Tribulation, right, which is going to come upon the earth, which is happening right now. Because you can see it in Matthew 24, you can see famines, earthquakes, pestilence, lawlessness, wars. You can see it in World War I, World War II.
Right,
you can see it in Iran and Iraq. You can see it in South Africa.
So what is your question?
My question is, like, for instance, who's going to make up the government? Like I said in the beginning, who's going to make up the government?
I can't name individuals for you. I can't name individuals for you. I can tell you the divine plan is for those who choose to receive the light and take that light on behalf of the people. That's the only answer I can give you.
Could I just ask you a quick one?
Yeah.
Is Saint Germain the same as the Saint Germainus who came to this country shortly after the death of St. Patrick? He was sent from northern France to fight the Pelagian heresy. Led a famous victory against the heathens where not a shot was fired.
I can't confirm or deny that that was the same one as Saint Germain, because he has appeared in so many guises over the centuries that he could very easily have manifested himself at that time. But I don't happen to be acquainted with that event.
It was very important mind in operation in the Celtic Church in this country. I just wanted to know if it was the same.
Is his son Chris Germanus?
Yes. There were two of them at about the same time. And he gives his name to St. Germans in Cornwall.
You know, the name means holy brother. So it is a name that saints could have taken also.
In our high group, some of us have difficulty in visualization. How important is the visualization with the decree?
It's very important. And that's why in the books that we have published and in our magazines, we continually publish thought forms The television has taken from you the creativity of the mind to visualize, because it's all done for you. In the days of radio, we had to imagine everything, so we exercised our imagination. So now, if you don't see easily, you look at a thought form, you memorize it, you close your eyes, and you see it. So you have to kind of go through the building blocks of developing your vision, your capacity for vision.
Comment on the role of transcendental foundation of knowledge in the world.
Why don't you comment on it? Oh, seriously? Why don't you tell me about it?
Well, he talks of the age of enlightenment and the world government in the age of enlightenment and so forth. There's a lot of social implications.
Well, basically I think I can tell you is that the path of the Hindu teachers is not necessarily the path of the Great White Brotherhood. Every world religion has its representatives, and he's one representative of Hinduism. The pastors of Christianity don't necessarily teach the teachings of the Great White Brotherhood either. And so, no, there isn't. He is a representative of the world religion known as Hinduism, but he's not a representative of the Great White Brotherhood. Not unless he wants to make conflict. I mean, the masters don't have conflict with people. It's a question of less and more. It's a question of he's in the tradition, the strict tradition of Hinduism with his own various innovations upon that theme, his theories that he teaches.
How can one discern the differences between what is authentic in the mind and what is unreal?
And what is what?
What is unreal? What illusion?
What is real and what is unreal? That is the great challenge of life. And God knows what is real because He is real. That's a basic premise, you agree. God is real, right?
How do we know that there's God? That's the concern for ourselves.
Your heart tells you. You have a divine spark in your heart. It is essential to pray and ask God what is real and what is His will for our lives. And it is important that you use the violet flame because the fire consumes that which is unreal. Those who use the mantras of the Great White Brotherhood, I find, become more and more real themselves. They have less and less illusion about them. And you need never fear the all-consuming flame because it consumes all unreality, all that is less than the vibration of the Christ in you. So you don't always have to figure out what is real because it passes away in the stream of light and you are left with the bedrock of your identity.
I have recently found out that I am the great-granddaughter of Edith de Viva, who was president of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, UNIA, in Guyana. Is it not universally known that the 12 tribes of Jacob in Genesis 49, 12 sons, is related to the 12 signs of the zodiac?
Yes, they are related to the 12 signs.
Universally known that.
I don't think it's universally known, but I know it and I teach it. She's asking me if the 12 tribes of Jacob relate to the path of initiation under the 12 signs of the zodiac, and they most certainly do. We teach the science of the cosmic clock in understanding one's karma and initiation, and those 12 hierarchies of the sun initiate us in the path of our overcoming. So Scorpio is not just a starry configuration, it's a hierarchy that initiates you in the third eye chakra. The third eye happens to come on the line of Scorpio-Taurus. And so we teach this in depth at Summit University, but I do have an album out on the cosmic clock. We have actually created the banners of the 12 tribes, and we assign ourselves the initiations of the tribes according to our birth sign, which is a very interesting idea to follow. I have over here. Oh, your conscience is a part of your Holy Christ self. But you also contribute to your conscience the training of your upbringing, customs and mores and so forth. It's also a part of conscience. But your Holy Christ self is the inner voice, and there are always other voices. So the pursuit of truth is part of the experiment in free will, but it is coming close enough to God and knowing His vibration. And that becomes a daily challenge. But there's no better way of getting there than to know the teachings and to give the mantras. And then at least you have guidelines. You begin to understand how the masters look at things.
But the communication comes through as words.
From your Christ self, it may come through as a sentence in your mind, a direction, an impelling. You feel you have to go and do something. You have to go and visit a friend. You have to do this or that. It becomes like a strong suggestion or a vision of yourself. You see yourself going and doing something. Or God speaks to us in many ways.
And would the I Am Presence also communicate directly?
Well, the Christ self is the mediator between the pure perfection of the I Am that I Am and the lower self. So the communications of the I Am Presence come through the Christ self naturally.
Are there any
Did you say incarnate what?
Are there any
Who are in the body now? See, the definition of an ascended master is that he is not in the body. Now, you may see a master in the body, or an ascended master in an unusual situation may take a body, but the definition of ascended master is that they have transcended the use of the body.
So you can never meet an ascended master until you die?
Oh, no. First of all, get rid of death because it's not real. It hasn't anything to do with anything. It's changing your coat. That's all you do when you die. You change garments. But you meet an ascended master, but he comes to you in a body of light. And he allows you to see him by raising your perceptions, accelerating your chakras. You may see him in your third eye. There's nothing to stop a master from manifesting to you physically if he wants to. He is capable of doing it. He may do it. It is a certain commitment of energy on his part which he's accountable for, so he doesn't do it so often. But the Ascended Master at Saint Germain is present in the room, and you are meeting that Master, but you are not seeing him. So I'm giving you his teaching and his words and his vibration so you can become acquainted with the true vibration of Saint Germain. Would you like to feel his vibration? We have a mantra in this book that is a song, and the words are Saint Germain's that came in a dictation. I hope it's in this book. It's called The Flame of Freedom Speaks. Is it here? Yes. And it's on page 15. Now, Saint Germain pronounced these words in a dictation, and we have them in a song. And I would like you to sing this song and feel the vibration of Saint Germain and his presence. And I'm going to make a call that you will feel him now and that his ray will come through you. Beloved Ascended Master Saint Germain, beloved Saint Germain, we call to you in the name of God. Your chelas and students and devotees long to know you and your vibration and your presence. Come now, beloved Saint Germain, intensify your electronic presence with each one as we sing your own words and flame of freedom. We thank you and we accept it done this hour in full power. Amen.
chosen their election, while who have determined to cast their lot in with the immortals. These are they who have set their teeth with determination, who have said, I will never give up, I will never turn back, I will never submit, I will bear the blame of freedom unto my victory. I will bear this flame in honor, I will sustain the glory of life within my nation. I will sustain the glory of life within my nation. I will win my ascension, I will say, oh, idols and I will say, the idol of my outer stand. I will have the glory on my immaculate, divinely conceived Son, manifesting within me. I am freedom and I am determined to be freedom. I am the flame of freedom and I am determined to bear it to all. I am God's freedom and He is indeed free. I am freed by His power and His power is supreme. I am fulfilling the purposes of God's kingdom.
I see. Thank you. Go ahead.
Relevance of healing in teachings.
The Brotherhood's what?
The relevance of healing within the teachings and its importance in study groups and so forth.
Healing is one of the major thrusts of my service. And if I weren't giving you the sealing of the forehead, I would give you calls for healing this evening. We hold a healing service every Wednesday night. We use prayers and mantras for healing. We pursue the path that I explained of internal cleansing and herbs. There are pictures of the healing thought form, healing masters to whom we call. We work very closely with Jesus in healing. And there are great manifestations of healings that have occurred to people on this path in this organization. The basic premise of healing is that we must heal the cause of disease, which is karma. Healing karma is transmuting it and also undoing it. For instance, you can be sick because of the karma of eating a lot of pork fat and sugar and everything that's not good for you. And if you want to change the condition that's in your body from that, you have to stop eating pork fat and white sugar and everything else that is unhealthy and begin fasting. So that takes determination and will and self-mastery and appeal to the Christ to help you to overcome bad habits. Our bad habits are one of the main causes of our sickness. Then we go back to previous embodiments of causes that are very deep-seated. So the individual working with the masters brings about not just a surface healing where the symptoms go away because he wants them to, but that the causes go away by removing the records in the etheric body. That's the difference of the path of healing under the ascended masters and faith healing such as you see in the churches. If the practitioner is an instrument of God and the masters, then acupuncture is an excellent form and method of healing.
I can tell you that doctor for respiratory conditions I had, and he worked with a pendulum, and he talked about chakras. He said that my chakras were blocked, and I hadn't heard of chakras at the time. I didn't know what he was talking about. I've learned a little bit more about chakras tonight. How would I set about? I realised that the chakras are kind of centres through which one receives light and health. And I'd like to unblock my chakras.
You've come to the right place. Turn to page 11. This is a series of 3 intonations of the seed syllables of the chakras. The first column you see, number 45, is for the purification and balance of your chakras. The second column is for the protection and the perfection of the light in your chakras. And the third is for the expansion of the light. There's a little diagram on the right that shows you what chakra you are working on. We start at the bottom of the column. We go from the base to the crown, raising the light. We're going to do all 3 of these together. This is how you unblock your chakras. You can also use a path of yoga, Hatha yoga. And there is nothing equal to the violet flame. It is the supreme key, like the philosopher's stone, the universal solvent. It is the elixir for healing. And you will get the fastest relief in every way with the violet flame when you combine it with the seed syllables of the feminine principles. You get the yin-yang, alpha and omega action. You get the father principle and the mother principle working together in your body. And just relax, uncross your legs, let your spine be erect, the spinal altar. You can take a deep breath. Let the word and the sound of the mother flow through you. The chakras begin at the bottom and they change. You have to listen for them. They do change and they go up to the next one. So you concentrate on each of those centers as they go. Let's see if we can find our runner. There he is. You can look at your chakras there too. Okay.
Om Aim Namaha. 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 Om Vam 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 Namaha. Om Ram 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 Namaha. Om Yam 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 Namaha. Om Ham 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 Namaha. Om 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 Namaha. Om.
I think, I'm not sure if I'm hearing this correctly, but the pronunciation of these sounds, I would like to tell you, I don't feel is how I'm hearing it. The first one is Om Aim, but when you say the next one, it's Om Vam, not Vaim, Vam. And it's almost as if the A were a U, so it's Om Vam Namaha, Om Ram Namaha, Om Yam Namaha, Om Hum Namaha, Om Namaha. We're going to take the second column now.
Om Aim Namaha. 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 Om Hrim 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 Namaha. Om Shrim 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 Namaha. Om Aim Hrim Hrim Chandaye Viche. 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 Om Sauhu Namaha. 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 Om Hrim 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 Namaha. Om Aim Hrim Shrim Hrim Sau Om Om. Om Aim Hrim Shrim Hrim Sau Om. Om Aim Hrim Shrim Hrim
Now the technique you use is to go straight to the heart of the violet flame. On page 3 you will find decree number 17. The affirmation of the violet flame in your chakras will now be of maximum release, transmuting records and karma. The light you have expanded is as far as your chakras can go in this moment until something else gives, and that something else is your karma. So now expand the cosmic consciousness of your chakras through the 7th ray as we give this affirmation. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God, shining every hour. I am the violet flame, blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God, shining every hour. I am the violet flame, blazing like the sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the light of God, shining every hour. I am the violet flame, blazing like the sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power. I am the violet flame, blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone. I am the violet flame in action in me now. I am the violet flame, to light alone I bow. I am the violet cosmic power. I am the light of God, shining every hour. I am the violet flame, blazing like a sun. I am God's sacred power, freeing everyone. Now there's another violet flame decree that was dictated by the Ascended Master Hilarion, who was the Apostle Paul. Paul's final embodiment was as Saint Hilarion, so he's known as the Master Hilarion. And his decree is on page 17. It's called More Violet Fire. This has a rhythm to it which is very special, which cuts across the entrenched darkness that may beset you. It's a very interesting way of giving a fiat. This is the way it goes. Listen to me for a moment. Lovely God presence, I am in me. Hear me now, I do decree. Bring to pass each blessing for which I call upon the Holy Christ self of each and all. Let violet fire of freedom roll round the world to make all whole. Saturate the earth and its people too with increasing Christ radiance shining through. I am this action from God above, sustained by the hand of heaven's love, transmuting the causes of discord here, removing the cause of that undue fear. I am the full power of freedom's love, raising all earth to heaven above. Violet fire now blazing bright in living beauty is God's own light, which right now and forever sets the world, myself, and all life eternally free in ascended master perfection. Almighty I am, almighty I am, almighty I am. Loving God presence, I am in me. Hear me now, I do decree. Bring to pass each blessing for which I call upon the Holy Christ self of each and all. Let violet fire of freedom roll round the world to make all whole. Saturate the earth and its people too with increasing Christ radiance shining through. I am this second from God above, sustained by the hand of heaven's love, transmuting the causes of discord here, removing the cause of an undue fear. I am the full power of freedom's love, raising all earth to heaven above. Violet fire now blazing bright in living beauty is God's own light, which right now and forever sets the world, myself, and all life eternally free in ascended master perfection. Almighty I am, almighty I am, almighty I am. The decree for freedom's holy light on the opposite page is also another call to the violet flame, which you might like to give. It's a decree for the nations and the cosmic light to save us. Let's try it. Mighty cosmic light my own, I am presence bright, proclaim freedom everywhere in order and by God control. I am making all things whole. Mighty cosmic light, stop the lawless hordes of night, proclaim freedom everywhere in justice and in service true. I am coming, God, to you. Mighty cosmic light, I am law's prevailing might, proclaim freedom everywhere in magnifying all goodwill. I am freedom living still. Mighty cosmic light, now make all things right, proclaim freedom everywhere in love's victory all shall go. I am the wisdom all shall know. I am freedom's holy light, never more despairing. I am freedom's holy light, evermore I'm sharing. Freedom, 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 expand, expand, expand. I am, forevermore. I am freedom. I want to tell you that people who follow this path come to the place where they feel that in order to accelerate, they need a matrix of community where the entire way of life is based on these teachings. So we do have a community. It is in Montana. It's a 30,000 acre ranch. 5,000 of those acres are dedicated as private land for individual members to homestead on. It's a place that was promised to me when I was with Jesus in Bethlehem as Martha, the sister of Mary and Lazarus. And he told me then, as he instructed me about the future of the age, that we would live again and we would be led by him to a place in the new world where he would establish a retreat for those who would receive his lost teachings, which would be lost after his ascension and would be found again and delivered again. And he told me, as I remember well, as I would be preparing food in the kitchen and he would be seated there instructing me, he said to me, first of all, he gave me that wonderful parable, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a leaven which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, and it leavened the whole lump. And he said that in this case, the leaven is the true teachings of Christ and the individual path of Christhood. And he told me that he would send me in the last days of the age as that woman that would hide that leaven in the etheric body, the mental body, and the desire body. And by going to the inner bodies of man, it would leaven the whole lump in the physical octave. But he said it would be sent from this retreat. And he said that he would lead me to it. And it was hard enough for me at the time to understand how I would arrive at this new world and this vast wilderness place he described. And then on top of this, how I would know what was the right place. And he said to me, you will know it by a giant stream of water that will come out of the earth and rise into the air, and it will be a marker. And you will see that rising stream of water as symbolical of the rising of the ascension flame, which will be the goal of the people who come into this community. So much perplexed, I believed in my faith in the Master that all these things would come to pass. So after I came to this activity and was called by the Masters to be a messenger and spent 12 years with Mark Prophet, he passed on in 1973, and his last words to me the night before his transition were to take the organization and the teachings and go and protect them and preserve them on a piece of property that I was to find in Montana. And so the search began, and in 1981, the members of this organization decided to purchase the ranch, the first ranch which we bought, which is about 13,000 acres. And we added to it another of the same size, and then Glastonbury. And on top of that, we have leased land, leased from the government for our grazing. So all told, we have 30,000 acres in this ranch. So when we were looking for the property, we flew all over the area of Montana, adjacent areas of Wyoming, and looked at many, many parcels. And walking by the faith and the inner attunement and the direction that I received, this is the place that was selected. 2 years later, Jesus came to me and he opened the memory. He opened the place in my being where I had this recollection that I've described to you of his promising to me that this would come to pass. And he pointed out the fact that our ranch shares 5 miles of border with Yellowstone Park, and that it was the geyser, Old Faithful, that he was referring to when he prophesied to me that this would be the place, and this is how I would know it, by that sign. And so when the land was purchased, I hadn't recalled that episode. And I asked him why he waited till now to tell me, and he said that he wanted to show me that it is the higher mind of God and the soul's communion with that mind that is the true guidance. And we are not always aware in the outer mind that we are truly following the inner calling. And in fact, the mental body can be an impediment to our fulfillment of our divine mission, as much as a help, which of course it is at times a help. So I found that going by the inner record and following Jesus, that I had come to the right place as he prophesied. So I would like to show you this place, if you would like to see it, where people like yourselves, and many from Britain, have come to take up the sacred labor of using the earth as a means to gain the mastery of the soul. They are engaged in a physical labor for the perfectionment of their spirits, because they understand that unity of life. I'd like to show you a film that shows the total community at Camelot and the ranch. It has pictures of the ranch in it.